Have you ever walked into a colleague's classroom and thought, how are these kids so calm and focused? No chaos, no shouting, just engaged, respectful learners. And here's the kicker. There's no big punishment system in place. So what's their secret? Hi there, and welcome to the Teacher Rockstar podcast. The podcast is dedicated to providing valuable insights, practical tips, and best practices so that new teachers can not only survive, but thrive in their classrooms. I'm your host, Steve Hiles, and today we're going to be talking about a behavioral management strategy that more and more teachers are turning to. It's simple, powerful, and here's the twist. It doesn't rely on public shaming or elaborate systems. So I want you to stick with me because I'll also share the one common practice teachers should stop doing if they want to see lasting change in student behavior. Okay, so let's get to it here. Let's start with the foundation, making behavior visible, but private. You know, you've probably heard of public clip charts or color-coded systems posted on the wall for the whole class to see. But many educators now agree that while visibility is very powerful, public displays can oftentimes backfire. And that's why the best versions of this hack are completely student-centered and confidential. Take this example. A fourth grade teacher uses private desk trackers, which are small laminated cards students keep in their folders. Now, throughout the day, students check off boxes like stayed on task or used kind words or met my goal. The teacher uses quiet signals, a nod, a thumbs up, or a desk tap to cue self-assessment. Now, the result? Her students became more mindful of their behavior because they were quietly owning it, not being called out in front of their peers. In this case, students are learning to monitor their own attention and choices without needing recognition or shame. Are you a teacher who finds yourself drowning in the challenges of classroom management? Do student behaviors leave you feeling overwhelmed and drained at the end of each day? Picture this, a classroom where your students are not just present, but fully engaged, focused, and eager to learn. Say goodbye to classroom management stress and hello to success. The Teacher Rockstar Academy course is meticulously designed to equip you with the tools and strategies needed to skyrocket your effectiveness as a teacher. Curious to know if the Teacher Rockstar Academy course is the missing piece in your teaching journey? If you're ready to reclaim control of your classroom and witness the incredible impact on your students, then use the link in the podcast description to learn more about this program. And I want to go on to the next point, which is basically, here's where things really start to click, okay? And I can't say this enough, consistency. One of the biggest mistakes that teachers make is launching a system with excitement, right? And then slowly abandoning it. But it's the follow-through that builds trust and change, all right? That's the key principle here. Now, for teachers who love technology, digital tools make consistency easier than ever. You know, you have platforms like Class Dojo, Google Forms, or even simple Google Sheet can be used privately. A teacher logs in behavioral notes throughout the day, and students check their own data in a one-on-one check-in or at home. One high school teacher, for example, I know sets up weekly behavior reports that students review and reflect on every Friday. Now, this small habit builds ownership without ever putting a student's status on blast, okay? So whether it's analog or a digital system that you use, the key is daily, predictable use. Students begin to internalize expectations when they're engaged with the process consistently, okay? Now, here's a strategy that I really, really like, and it fosters deep student ownership. Okay, I want to talk about what might be the most powerful variation of this hack, student reflection journals. Now, these can be as simple as a spiral notebook or as structured as a printed worksheet if you want them to be. At the end of each day or class period, students write short answers to prompts like, What went well today? What was a challenge? What will I try tomorrow? Okay. I coached a fifth grade teacher who introduced this system during her morning meeting and used it as an exit ticket. Okay. Her students not only started improving their behavior, but they began to articulate the why behind their actions. She wasn't just managing behavior anymore, she was growing thinkers. And that's very, very powerful. When students feel seen, valued, and heard, they become partners in your classroom, okay? Not just subjects of your management. Here's the shift I promised you earlier, all right? If you want real transformation in your classroom, you've got to stop trying to manage student behavior for them. Instead, start teaching students to manage it with you. Whether you use private desk charts, digital logs, or behavioral journals, the common thread is student ownership. All right. I want to be very, very clear about that. You don't need a flashy wall chart to have a well-managed classroom. You don't need to move student clips up and down a chart or colored strips to annotate a specific behavior or writing their names on the whiteboard. Okay. You need a system that's consistent, respectful, and centered on student growth. And I know you can build that system because you care and you are here learning how to make it happen. Okay. So if you found this episode valuable, take a moment to share it with a fellow teacher. Okay. Because when it comes down to it, we're all in this together. And sometimes just one helpful tip or insight can make a huge difference in someone else's classroom. So go ahead and pass it along. You never know who might need it. Well, that's it for today's episode. We will see you same time, same place next week. And remember, my friend, you got this.
You've been listening to the Teacher Rockstar podcast with your host, Steve Hiles. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast as much as we have. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of Teacher Rockstars. Until then, thanks for listening.